Okay, guys, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? This is Future Automation, a place where imagination meets reality, and you're listening to Tejas. So basically, guys, this is a new series of videos that I'll be dropping off as weekend talks. And every weekend, we'll be trying to bring in some experts from different tech world who have worked a lot and have a lot of experience, which they are willing to share with us, and they are going to give us their own wisdom and experience, based on which we can decide how we plan to, enter different domains of, tech world, and probably learn something new. So I try to keep these videos to everyone, not just the people from tech world. So everyone who is even a noob or new to any kind of tech domain can watch these videos. And also I'm going to plan a lot of deep dive videos as well, which will then cover up the rest of the things which people who are already working or have entered in the domain can explore again. So from coding to hardware IoT stuff, and from designing to 3D designing to 3D printing, each and every tech topic that is coming up will be tried to be covered in this weekend talks. So stay tuned and enjoy the very first video of weekend talks, and keep innovating, guys. What's going on, everybody? This is Future Automation, a place where imagination meets reality. And we are started with the new series of weekend talks, where we'll be dropping off different podcasts on the weekends. And today we are having Abhini Shetye ma'am, who is working as principal data analyst. And thank you, ma'am, for joining me. And it's really a great honor to be like having you as a guest on my first podcast. So I would like you to give a brief intro about yourself to the viewers, and then we'll start with the further talks.
Hey, thank you so much for inviting me. So it's been lovely being here. Hi everyone, I am Abhini. I work in the data analytics space. I've been here for about 4 years now, and I mostly work on fintech and try to solve fintech data analytics problem, mostly related to consumer analytics. So that's my professional background. And before being data analyst, I have also been into IT industry and in telecom industry as well. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for the quick intro. And I think I would like to start with the very simple, and I think the most common question that everyone who asks when they meet a senior in this space is how much experience you are having in this field, like from when you're working as a data analyst.
Okay. So, like I said, I have total years of experience is 7. Out of that, I have 4 years of experience in data analytics. I have
Okay.
been in data analytics. I've always been working in fintech space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's this is my second fintech opportunity, which I'm working
Okay.
right now. So yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
been 3 years in the current company.
Okay, okay. So I have a lot of questions in this field because I am really excited when it comes to data science and machine learning areas. So one confusion that everyone is having is what exactly is the difference between data science, data engineering, and data analysis. So what exactly is the
Hmm.
very easiest
Yeah.
difference that you can tell about these three fields?
Okay. So I think majority of the people get confused between the three, and they often use the terms interchangeably. But I feel that there
Mhm.
is inherent difference between all these fields. So basically, if you
Okay.
consider a landscape of data, Anything with
Mm-hmm.
respect to analytics, the base for that is your data, right? So in order to get your
Correct.
data correct and to maintain the quality of data, there is this profile called data engineering. So their job
Mm-hmm.
basically revolves around getting the data proper. What I mean by that is basically creating data pipelines, storing the data, making it available in a
Mm-hmm.
particular format, and such kind of things, right?
Okay.
Data analytics or data analyst, on the other hand, uses the data which is actually being available, getting available by the data engineering team. They use that
Mm-hmm.
particular data, they perform some mathematical operations, create visualizations, and make insights out of that particular data so that it can be consumed by the normal stakeholders. And
Mm-hmm.
data science, I think, goes one step ahead, in which data scientist uses the particular data to predict some patterns out of data. So those
Mm-hmm.
patterns are usually not seen by um, humans, or they can't be predicted. So basically the
Okay.
scientists use that data to predict the
Mm-hmm.
like not exactly predict the
Okay.
future, but
Future,
predict
but
some
okay.
patterns
Correct.
out of
Correct.
that
Correct.
data.
Okay. So, would it be like, right to place it in a way that, okay, data engineering is dealing with the initial stage of data, then we come to the
Correct.
data analysis, where you are trying to, okay, get an idea about, okay, the engineered data. Now, what we need to do next, or maybe create a reason of how what we're exactly going to use this data for, and then we have the data
Mm-hmm.
scientists who are going to use the same analyzed data to predict maybe some kind of business decision or anything like that. Would it be right to
Exactly.
put it
So
that way?
there,
Okay.
correct. So there could be an
Okay.
overlap between data analyst and data scientist, or there could be
Okay.
completely different as well. Like it is not
Okay.
necessary to be a data analyst before you could do data science. It could
Yes.
be completely
Mhm.
different as well.
Okay. So both can take over each other's work as well,
Yeah.
based on the use case. Okay. Okay. So, next one that I want to ask is, what is the usual routine of of a job that you are in? Say, what is the usual routine of a principal
Mm-hmm.
data analyst? How they spend their whole day? What exactly kind of tasks they
Okay.
do? And what is the mindset when you go to the job in the morning? What is the mindset that you have?
Okay, so I'll just generalize it to a day in a life of data analyst, not restricting to a my profile, but usually
Okay.
what generally data analysts do, right? So it's a life cycle. Any project that you take up, basically it's like,
Mhm.
for the people who are not in data analytics industry, or who want to step into that, they might have that idea that we are a very tech driven profile, and that will always
Mhm.
be working on some kind of like Python or Tableau, or just like working technically on data. But it's really not so. Majority of our part, like I said, the life cycle starts from gathering the requirement. So
Mhm.
basically this is the first step. While you understand the problem, what is that you want to solve for, this is a
Okay.
very crucial step, because the entirety of your analytics depend on how you interpret the problem. So
Okay.
when you get this correct, then the next step is usually getting the data. Now again,
Mhm.
we are in imperfect world, so the data is also imperfect. So how you shape
Correct.
that data, how you clean that, and how you get it to work for you is the second step. Then when you have that particular like data which you want, then you perform certain kind of analysis. And that analysis, what you do, is also dependent on what you're solving for, right? So there are like numerous kinds of analysis which you do on the data, and then eventually you land up to a solution, which basically
Mhm.
is like where you get some results and you interpret in such a
Mhm.
way that it indicates either the cause of the problem or the solution towards it.
Okay.
And once you
Okay.
have that insight in your hand, then you go ahead, share that with your stakeholders, recommend certain
Mhm.
action items which they can implement to solve that particular problem, and then you get
Okay.
feedback from them. So it's basically a
Okay.
cycle. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it goes into loops, and eventually, like when you solve the problem, then it's done. So this is typically a day in a life of
Okay.
any data analyst.
Okay, so I think everyone in today's market is really excited, or maybe very much, hyped with lot of buzzwords that are going around. And what I want to ask you is like, irrespective of which field in data-related jobs, say data analysis or data science or data engineering is, what is the
Mm-hmm.
most, most important thing, or maybe most specific thing that you like about this job? Maybe it can be common to all the three fields, or maybe specific to only your field. But what is the one thing that you like, because of which you think, okay, today, like every day, you'll get excited. Okay, this is what I'm doing, and it's really something that I like to do, and which is bringing a bit change in the, in the field that I'm working in, like that.
Okay. So, what I feel the field I'm working in, data analytics, is like you're just sitting on a treasure, right? But the only
Hmm.
thing is, the treasure is buried under a pile of soil. Now, that pile of
Okay.
soil, you can see that it's a unstructured data, right? And there is
Hmm.
one
Correct.
tiny bit of like inside which has the potential, to
Hmm.
like exponentially grow your business or to solve any problem, right? So
Correct. Correct.
my my one thing which I like about is exploring things, right? Being
Hmm.
like, in this field you have to be curious, like there is no substitute
Correct.
for
Correct.
that. More curious
Correct.
you'll be, more questions you'll ask, and more questions you'll
Correct.
ask, more insights you will land up to. So this is
Correct.
something which I really enjoy in my job, that the
Hmm.
possibility that I might find any treasure anytime, in the
Okay.
form of data or in the form of insights which nobody has like ever discovered, right? This is a
Hmm.
certainly new possibility which you can discover every single day. So that's what keeps me going, I guess, and that's the most exciting thing that I feel.
I think it was really a nice placement so that anyone can understand, okay, what exactly you're trying to explain. So I think it was really a great example. And I think, yeah, data, like understanding the importance of data has changed a lot in the industry. Even today, today, one of the biggest example of how the data can change anything is the chat
Mm-hmm.
GPT itself. And again,
Mm-hmm.
how they have implemented it in different applications, what Microsoft has done right now as a co-pilot in GitHub and in Edge, and in coming upcoming many more applications like Office 365. So I think, yeah, data has changed a lot in terms of how we approach any kind of task or any kind of result. And lot of businesses have lot of dependency on such kind of uh, outputs which are coming from their old data, and the businesses who are keeping the record of such data, I think, are appreciating what they have done in these many years of keeping the data safe.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that is really a good thing. And
Great.
yeah, so
Definitely.
now again, as I have brought out the term chat GPT, what do you think that has made it so great, and people are now not able to, in a very not in a bad sense, but they are not able to escape the use of chat GPT in their day to day life?
Hmm. I feel what ChatGPT is doing right now is what computers did to modern work culture back in
Hmm.
90s, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
it is definitely a disruptive technology, and see, it is right now. It is still at a very nascent stage. I believe that people are trying to discover things. Mostly, if you see, mostly people are using it also as a form of entertainment, right? So just to see like what its responses are, etc. But growing
Correct.
towards the future, what I feel is it is going to be a very essential part, not essential, but something which you can't live with,
Correct.
basically in your day-to-day
Hmm.
life when it comes to work. So it is going to be there, it is going to definitely develop a lot more, but it is going to support your job. In most of the cases, I feel that the nature of your work will slightly change depending on how you use ChatGPT, and it is going to basically change the nature of some kind of jobs. But yeah, it is going to be supplementary for most of the job roles, I feel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
What are your views on
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT?
So basically, I have used it a lot. What
Mm-hmm.
I think that has made it a bit different, or maybe it is being used, is the ability to not go on hunting different websites to get that one single output, or maybe that one single insight about anything.
Definitely.
So this ability that it has to go around the internet and then search for all the data and then summarize it and give us something. I think that's the main reason why people might tend to use it. But again, recently I had a talk with a senior software engineer who also had a good view
Mm-hmm.
about ChatGPT, and what she mentioned was that okay, it is really good, but I think it has its own extent. After that, we have to depend on our own instinct and knowledge, and there chat gpt cannot do anything, but it
Definitely.
can give us a good heads up like okay, you want to, okay, recently I wanted to understand how to write a quantum computing code on python. So I just went
Mm-hmm.
out directly to chat gpt, and there I tried out writing it down, and okay, it gave me a basic
Mm-hmm.
code of how we can use qubits and how we can write quantum computing code. So I think that is where it lies. There is a place for chat gpt in the field, but it has its own extent. Out of after that, I think the human has to rely on its own knowledge and instinct and the experience that he gets from around people. So that is what I think. But it has to grow a lot. Again, it will surely grow. If
Yeah.
the current news that is like roaming around, that okay, all the big tech giants are signing different, like they are signing a pool that okay, this should stop, chat gpt 4 training should stop for now, and humans are not ready for this kind of technology. So if that is not worked around, then I think chat gpt 4 will hit a new height, and I think it has already hit a new height. And also probably in coming days, bard, which has been rolled out by google, it got a bit
Mm-hmm.
failed in its initial time, and google has to suffer a lot of trolling. But I think the next
Mm-hmm.
next phase of bard might also get a bit, it might get a bit good, based on okay, what
Definitely.
again google does. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was really good insight about ChatGPT. So next to that, I what I want to know, or maybe what a lot of people want to know, is that data science has been, or maybe anything related to data. So initially, when machine learning, data science came into existence, there was a big term that I think it has been coined a bit like back in the time, but it got around as a buzzword that data is a new fuel. So this was a term, I think, five
Mm-hmm.
six years around, it got
Yeah.
huge hit by a lot of people, that okay, the crude oil, current
Mm-hmm.
now new crude oil will be data. So when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to this, what I want to ask is, what do you think can be a reason for anyone in anyone in the normal day-to-day life needs to have an understanding about the importance of data, and why they need to learn at least a basic of data science or data analysis? What
Hmm.
a normal person who is doing a job, or who is having a normal retail business, can do with this data knowledge of data
Okay.
science?
Okay. So basically, even if they are not aware the technical complexity of data science or data analytics, what I feel everybody should know at this, in this world right now is the possibilities that the data science or data analytics can, give you. Uh, those
Okay.
are basically like immense, and the more you know what good that particular field can do for your business, the better you can grow.
Mhm.
um,
Correct.
since you asked this question, like I just recollected a scene from movie Swades, wherein
Ah,
the Mohar Bhargav, the actor, basically he goes to a place. I think it was a potter, and they are actually
Hmm.
going to they were actually deciding to get those particular their children to go to school, and they were not agreeing,
Hmm.
and they were like, we have our business, why do we need to get our children
Correct,
educated?
correct.
And
Hmm.
he just like mentioned, if now now you don't know the value of your pottery. Once you get educated, you will be able to sell it for much higher. So data
Correct,
science or
correct,
data analytics, I feel, in the modern terms is doing something similar, wherein
correct.
your business is right now growing, right? But if you want to grow it,
Hmm.
if it is growing linearly, if you want to grow it exponentially, what do you do? Then
Correct, correct, correct.
you know fields like data analytics or data science can help you out in understanding how your customers are, how your business trends are,
Hmm.
what makes your customers transact with you, what is
Correct,
that
correct.
they're wanting. All these things, when you have such insights with you, right, you can actually use those insights to build either customer retention models, customer acquisition
Hmm.
model,
Correct,
or
correct.
understand, if it is a product based company that you're having, understand what are the issues in your product, what people are talking about your product, what are they liking. And once you have
Correct,
all
correct.
those background or understanding, then you can use those in your favor to grow 10x.
Hmm.
So that's the
Correct, correct.
power of data science.
Correct, correct. Yeah, I think I had also got a chance to do a case study of one of the business, which is
Mm-hmm.
related to a vehicle automobile dealer. And there I experienced, what can be the power of data, or how we can implement a lot of things. So I had got around, a vehicle sale history of around from 2014 to 2021 or something. And I think
Mm-hmm.
there I had lot of thoughts. And I think when we get the access of data, we become more creative about how we can use this data. So I figured out maybe we can use this data to understand, okay, in coming festivals, what stock we can put, so the stock prediction model. Then which vehicles are exponentially having a growth of sale in this current 4 5 years. So based on that, we can the businessman can decide, okay, what vehicles he need to keep and how we need to do. And based on the same data, we can contact the same customers to get them back to the service part and that kind of thing. So I think when we have, as you said initially, that we need a lot of curiosity when it comes to such fields. When we have data, we become more creative. When it comes, like, if we have that much curiosity to work in such fields, and we become more we get more imaginative on what we can do with this data. And that, I think, is a really exceptional part about the people who are working in data analysis or data scientist. As a data scientist, they are good storytellers when it comes to clearing the data and then explaining what we need to do with this data. So I
Yeah,
got
definitely.
I heard from someone, you should be good storyteller when it comes to this field. If your data can tell the story that you are trying to explain, I think you are unbeatable in working in this field, is what I heard
Yeah, I
about.
completely agree. It's
Yes.
very creative field that way. You need to be a
Hmm.
you need to be a storyteller. Yeah, definitely.
Correct, correct. So yeah, and now there are a lot of tools available, in this field that are being used,
Mm-hmm.
including the no code, low code platform, where which will come in at the end. So I have one question about that as well. But in when data science came into picture, and Python got a lot of hype, or maybe a lot of
Hmm.
fame in data science, machine learning, AI. Irrespective of
Mm-hmm.
what is the reason, from my opinion, because I like Python, so I'll be kind of biased in this perspective. But what are your thoughts on why uh, is Python so hyped, or maybe it got so much famed, or is so into use with lot of huge
Okay.
community it is having in this field?
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
Okay. Cool. So I'll join your club. By the way, I also use Python, so I am a bit biased towards Python as well. Okay, so I have basically seen people code in R. They also do data science on Java. I have also seen that.
Hmm.
Why I'll tell you about myself. Like why I particularly prefer Python is basically it's because of two reasons. One is it is very simple to understand, it is very intuitive to even
Correct.
code, right? So as you speak,
Mm.
the way you speak, the way you write, it's as simple. And data science or
Correct.
analytics is not a very tech heavy industry. I mean, you certainly need some tech skills, but the more time you spend in actually understanding or interpreting your data, right, you have to spend
Correct.
more time on that and less time in actually understanding the syntax or the way you code. So I feel that
Correct.
Python gives you that flexibility that even with a little technical knowledge, it gives you,
Mm-hmm.
basically you can just kickstart your career in data analytics. And the second
Correct.
thing
Correct.
is the rich libraries which Python offer, which makes your work very easy. Like if you want to analyze structured data, you just have to import pandas as you
Correct.
import
Correct.
NumPy,
Mm.
right? So all these things are actually like people have actually worked on that. They have made functions so that you can actually call them easily. You can do things very easily on Python. So I think that's the reason why people are actually inclined towards using Python. Is
Correct.
what I
Correct.
feel.
Correct. Yeah, right. I think one of the reason why Python is very much used is the community, as you said, the huge amount of
Hmm.
libraries that we are having. Anything that we can think of, Python is having a library.
Yeah.
So one thing I recently used in one of the video, which is already an old library, but I think a lot of people are not aware of it, is the PyAuto movie, which is used for UI automation in Windows. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really one of a very powerful library, and I have used it in a lot of my videos. So I think such libraries make Python more powerful. And if you'll like you use multiple libraries in a single project, then I think a lot of obstacles that comes in one library are ultimately solved in another library. So
Correct.
yeah, I think that is one of the thing. So well,
Yeah.
now as we are speaking of library, I'm not sure if you have used it or not, or maybe you have used a different one. So you are already aware of Matplotlib, which is used
Mm-hmm.
as a visualization library.
Yeah.
So one thing I think which we had already spoke previously also, and I was really amazed about it, is that like 3D visualization of the data. If you have more parameters to a
Mm.
data point, so I
Mm.
watched one of the video where they showed visualizing higher dimensional of data, and they
Mm-hmm.
have shown like they use tsne, that is one of the library that they used for uh, uh, showing. Now we usually see a 2D map of any data. If you want to understand, okay, there is a huge amount of
Mm.
data, and then
Mm.
we need to visualize how the trend is going on. So we usually go with the 2D plot, and we
Correct.
make sure that whatever we are having is easy to understand. So they
Mm-hmm.
show it in a three dimensional way. So I was really amazed with that. So if say for example, what do you think is your opinion when it comes to higher dimensional visualization, if we have more data
Mm-hmm.
points to a single data, and is it really good to do that way, or like means a normal people or a normal stakeholder will be able to understand that, or do you
Mm.
think that like using, instead of using more tech high tech library or maybe high tech visualization, it is more important to make sure it is more easier to let someone who is not into this
Yeah.
field understand this. So what do you think
Okay.
about this?
So I'll answer this question in a bit different way. Usually, when people enter the industry of data analytics, they usually get
Mhm.
amazed by all the visualizations or creative things which are happening. It is very good to look
Correct.
at, but
Correct.
I feel these are just the tools to help us get to where we want to go, right?
Correct.
So instead of getting engrossed in what visualization I should be using to showcase this particular data, we should be focusing
Mhm.
on what is that I have to convey. Is it that I
Correct.
can is it if it is something which I can convey just by using plain words, go ahead, do that. as long as the problem is getting solved.
Correct.
Visualizations are good, but as you mentioned that not everyone will be able to understand what you're trying to portray. Sometimes
Okay.
if it is like necessity, then just go ahead, use, I mean, these 3D plots, even I have seen that sometimes they actually do a better job in understanding, say,
Mm-hmm.
three-dimensional data. You can just
Correct.
see how your variables are moving in space. But when
Correct.
it comes to explaining those charts, it is exponentially
Mm.
more difficult than 2D charts, because
Correct.
most of the people are
Correct.
accustomed to seeing 2D charts. So again,
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing it, first do it for your own, understand what that visualization is telling you, gather
Mm-hmm.
insights from that particular visualization, and provide only those nuggets to your stakeholder. If they are interested in
Correct.
knowing more, then go ahead, share your visualizations. If
Correct.
they have that particular background to understand such complex visualization, they'll surely appreciate it. But use the visualization as your tools,
Correct.
and not the main attraction of your analysis. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Correct. Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah,
I
I
feel.
think that was really good insight. Yeah, and I think one of the things that I want to mention is because we are talking about data visualization, one thing that I think got me more interested is which I think I forgot to mention in this video is that the reason why I am so much aware of visualization is because of one of your article that you have written
Oh,
in the Medium.
okay.
So I think that really helped me a lot. And initially, when I
Thank you.
spoke to you about the article, so you were really very helpful about the questions
Thank you.
that I
Thank you
had.
so much.
And one thing that I remember in that article is the heat map. So I think
Yes.
that was really a good technique to initially understand
Hmm.
the data. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think thanks for writing that article. And of course, for the
Thank
viewers,
you.
I
Thank
will
you.
link the article in the description, so maybe you can check it out. So this was like 3 years back, and that article was really very useful, and you can go ahead
Thank you.
and really
Thank you
check
so
it out.
much.
Yeah, yeah. So I should be thanking you for writing that article. So it was really helpful.
No worries.
Yeah. So moving on, I think next to that I had few more questions. So one thing is that now people are very much amazed with all the tech giants,
Mm-hmm.
Meta, then we have Google, Microsoft, Amazon. All these companies are somewhere related to data only. So Google initially started as a search engine,
Yes.
then it came into data. Facebook is all about data. Meta, what's the new name? Amazon, it's decision recommendation system, attracting user, again data.
Hmm.
And Microsoft is having a lot of data related projects that are involved. Although Microsoft is spread wider than that, but I know that ultimately everything comes to data when it comes to the companies who have lot of user base in them. Even Tesla, again,
Mm-hmm.
Tesla is also having a lot of AIs that
Mm-hmm.
work around with the data. Even though Elon Musk says that okay, AI is not good, but they have their own AI as well in their car itself,
Hmm.
which works as an autopilot. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that is good or bad, but what I want to understand is when it comes to these tech giants, what do you think they do to process that amount of huge data in in their day-to-day decisions, or maybe the working of the
Hmm.
company? How do you think they might be managing that huge amount of data, and what kind of analysis they might be doing to get out some optimized results or maybe optimized decisions out of that?
Yeah. Okay. So I feel, I mean, see, first of all, these tech giants, the biggest asset they have is data, which they possess, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
obviously, they have a lot of data warehouses, or
Mhm.
uh, data storage abilities, which makes them store this huge amount of data and process it.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
So when it comes to processing the data, right, I feel that I
Mm.
mean, with respect to analytics, there are innumerable things. I think they are, first of all, collecting a lot of information, That
Mm-hmm.
information is basically, see, every company uses the particular information in different formats. So if you're just talking about
Correct.
uh, Facebook or Instagram, for example, nobody had thought that your content could be personalized to what you like, right? But we
Correct.
are actually, like, we every time we open Instagram, we get content which is related to our liking, right? Things
Correct.
which
Correct.
we eventually want to buy, just like the ads for that pop up in your feed. Why do,
Mm.
like, why, how does that happen? Is basically through data science, right? So
Correct.
these tech giants are basically, what they're doing is hyper personalization, I feel. So
Mm-hmm.
you get what you want, and it is so personalized with respect to every customer which they are having, that the customer
Mm-hmm.
feel wanted, and eventually they
Correct.
stick with those. So I feel this is something which all of the tech giants are doing right now. And yeah, except for this, there are a lot more things in which they are using data, but this is
Mm-hmm.
one of the use case which I can think of on top of my head.
Correct, correct. And I think they have gone way ahead of how we can use the data, or maybe how we can change the user experience, or maybe pop up different ads or posts around it. So I remember one of the things that is like the that was exact after one of the Facebook posts, or maybe I have seen it on Facebook only, I don't remember. So what they said is that, okay, these guys are listening to what you speak as well, so they have phrases,
Mm-hmm.
different phrases that
Yeah.
they are having. And if a lot of people, they might have checked, then they might have also been aware of these apps. They do use microphone permissions as well, even though there is like they do have microphone options for recording and all, but still they now, based on the different policies that Android and iOS have changed, now they need to ask the user, like 2 3 years back they have changed it. But I still remember once we were planning to go to a movie, and I just opened up, I think, uh, Google Pay or something, to pay and or do something, and then suddenly the ad of we have an offer on movie tickets popped up. So I think that was a live example that I experienced on how they are
Yeah.
using different phrases, and then data science involved in it to give a prediction. Okay, these guys are talking about this thing, and we need to give them a maybe a pop-up
Yeah.
or a notification.
So I
So
think how
it's
they are collecting data is controversial. So
correct.
we don't know what's happening, and we shouldn't be commenting on that. But irrespective of
Correct,
that, how
correct.
they are using
Hmm.
particular data which is available for them is something
Hmm.
which is very much unique
Correct,
in
correct.
the way of
Yeah,
hyper personalization.
correct. It's actually amazing that how such kind of things can work out. Although for like people who are not like me, who are not much into this field, they are usually very much amazed with the tech, or
Yeah.
maybe the effort that is going behind to analyze anything, and then predict patterns, or maybe predict
Mm-hmm.
some kind of outcomes. So that is really great how they do it, and what level of processing involves in that. So yeah, I think Google's new technique of training the AI models with less amount of data, and they are trying to make it more accurate. So they are calling it as a student teacher knowledge distillation process, in which what they are doing
Okay.
is they have pre-trained models which are being like they are acting as a guide to the smaller models, and they are
Mm-hmm.
helping those smaller models to achieve a bit more accuracy. So I wanted to ask, like, how these kind of techniques can help the smaller models or upcoming machine learning models be more accurate for more predictions, and how this can
Hmm.
impact the field of data science and AI.
Okay, sure. So basically, what I feel is, with respect to specifically the topic you said, the
Mm-hmm.
student-teacher model,
Mm-hmm.
why this is a good thing, or what are the advantages of having this, is basically when it comes to any machine learning model, the more data
Mm-hmm.
it is able to absorb, the more accurate it becomes, right? And when it comes
Correct.
to small companies, they usually don't have that data infrastructure or that loads of data which they can train the model on. But
Okay.
on the other hand, if the model is already trained, then
Mm-hmm.
the other models can simply utilize that. So given, like giving a
Correct.
layman example of the same is basically, say supposing where we are trying to run a machine learning model to identify human faces, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in that, the model has already learned to identify eyes, identify what nose
Correct.
looks like, what mouth looks
Mm-hmm.
like. Now if some, like a small company is trying to identify animals, so the basic things remain the same, right? The
Correct.
identification of
Mm-hmm.
eyes, nose,
Mm-hmm.
mouth, right? So basically, they
Yes,
can
correct.
actually leverage on that accuracy of the model, which is
Mm-hmm.
already trained, and
Correct, correct,
using that they can train their own model to have the same level of accuracy. So this is where
correct.
this will be beneficial, especially for small companies, and it would
Mm-hmm.
be I mean, with a smaller investment in data, they can actually achieve higher accuracy. So yeah, I feel
Correct,
this is
correct.
a good thing.
Yeah, and I think like there is lot of processing consumption involved in training models or maybe processing
Correct.
data, huge amount of data. Because in college days also I have seen like one of the group they have made a object detection project, and they had to bring the
Mm-hmm.
whole workstation to the college because the laptops were not able
Yeah.
to process that huge amount of data and the modeling.
Yes.
So I think this kind of techniques can help the smaller business to bring down the cost, and maybe
Correct.
they can use the existing knowledge, and based on that it will be far more easier for them to achieve good
Easier plus
accuracy.
accurate. Yeah.
Correct, correct, correct. Yeah. With that, I think let's move on to a more, career-oriented questions where I think most of the people are who are new to entering in this field. They might be also watching this video. So what I want to give them while
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the video is that how they can plan, the career of being a data scientist or being a data analyst or being a data engineer. So when you are suggesting, someone who is totally new to this field, or who is not
Mm-hmm.
even aware of, okay, what exactly is data analysis or maybe data science. So how do you suggest they plan their path, and what and as a follow-up question to that, what are the challenges, initial challenges that they can expect from this field? Although every time there will be different challenges, I agree, but basic
Mm.
initial challenges that you might have faced or based on your experience. So what all initial challenges they might expect if through from this career?
Okay. Okay. So I think those are two questions. So I'll answer the first one first, wherein you ask
Mm-hmm.
about what basically a newcomer in this field should ideally be preparing to enter into
Correct.
the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I assume that if anyone is entering data analytics or data science, they have done some kind of background research in what the field is usually, and they have the basic idea. So if you are
Mm-hmm.
coming with that mindset,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just like suggest one thing which is very rare these days is to be curious. Be
Correct.
curious, ask questions, keep on asking questions, and ultimately you'll end up in a place wherein you are having that mindset to finally be in the data science or analytics field. Then the next thing is basically learn some tools, learn Python, learn visualization, be it Tableau or be it Power BI or any other visualization tool. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel that these will come eventually, even if you are not too good at it. There is Google, there is ChatGPT to help you out right now. But what
Correct.
will matter most is the mindset you come up with. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll just, if I want to give any advice, I'll just give the this thing that train your mind to ask questions and be curious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and the second point which you mentioned is around what are the challenges which data analysts can face.
Mm-hmm.
One challenge is basically bad data, which is very common. lack of
Correct.
data. So sometimes you'll have to not you will not have to rely on internal data. So sometimes you'll have to go fetch, hunt for external data, hunt for cues. So that could
Mm-hmm.
be one of the challenges. And the other challenges could be, more on the non-tech side of things,
Mm-hmm.
wherein you do all sort of analysis, but then again you don't end up to a solution. Sometimes you
Correct.
do all the analysis to understand that there was no problem at the first place, right? So
Correct.
such
Correct.
kind of roadblocks are also there, but it's a part of the job, right? So it is not a challenges. Yes,
Correct.
there will be slight hiccups, but yeah, I think if,
Yeah.
like people can overcome that eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the mindset part is really something that I totally agree on. So unless and until you don't have a curious mindset about, asking question, or maybe having that curiosity of understanding the domain for which you're trying to solve the problem. So in the initial days when I
Exactly.
started to learn anything like from data science to machine learning, what I really understood that is that we should be having like we should be curious enough to go into the domain to understand what exactly we are trying to figure out, and maybe asking right questions about the domain, and having that curiosity of understanding that domain can really make things a bit more easier, to analyze the
Yeah,
data and to pre-process the data and to understand which parameters are more
definitely.
important, to figure out, okay, we are going to go in this way. Yeah, so I think that
Yeah.
is one thing I really think is very
Yeah.
important. And again, it comes down to data itself. So most of the part is dealt with data only, and then comes, implementing the algorithms, or maybe adding some more visualization, or making decisions. But unless and
Yeah.
until we don't spend much time with data, we won't be able to get correct answers, or probably, is it possible or not possible. Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that is one thing. And next to that is when like, do you recommend? So initially, when we had one thing I wanted to share with you, which was related to, how data science is implemented from a very long time. Maybe so
Mm-hmm.
it's not technically called as data science, but
Okay.
anything like how data has impacted. So this was something that we read in one of the subject we had. So it was data analytics itself. We called it
Mm-hmm.
DANS in the college days. So there they have mentioned like how shopping markets arrange the products to
Yeah.
to maybe you can say either manipulate, or maybe you can say it ease of access to the
Influence
customers.
the decisions. Yeah.
Correct. Influence the decision. So I read that point and I was really amazed. And the content was pretty old. We are
Hmm.
now, aware of all these things, but I think these things have been implemented from a very long time. But the terms were
Yeah.
different at that time, probably, or they were much less accessible to the normal public.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we are able to do it, I think that's really very amazing. So. Uh, Now, what I want to ask you from this point is, where do you think these all things are going in coming 10 years?
Okay. So yeah, so I feel, see, like you said, it has been there since a while now. The only thing which
Hmm.
was not there is digitization, right? Because uh, things were happening pretty fragmented. There was no single
Hmm.
place wherein you can actually collate things, collate different things, and relate those to make sense out of that. So that is
Correct.
something which is there right now. And what is
Hmm.
being I mean, what's right now growing is the way you are able to capture big data and process big data to generate insights and build models on top of that. So I feel
Correct.
going ahead, in 20 years, it is most likely to be a part of every household, be it that you know or you don't know. I think it is already a part of every household, because
Correct.
there is Alexa, there is Google TV, there is
Yes.
whatnot,
Yes.
and everything
Hmm.
has data science involved in it. So it is going to be an integral part of everybody's life eventually.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, like I mentioned, there are many job roles which are going to change,
Correct.
specifically because right now AI or machine learning is being consumed by the users, but eventually it is going to be used commercially as well,
Yes.
in the way you work, right? So it is going to, right now it
Mm-hmm.
is at your home, it is soon going to get into your offices as well, for
Correct.
most
Correct.
of the profiles. So yeah, so the nature of jobs will change a bit, and the possibilities are immense. There is no
Correct. 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 Correct.
um,
Yeah, I totally
limit to
agree.
that.
Yes. And as you
Yeah.
say that they are surely going to get into your jobs. I think that's the point where people are too much worried about, okay, whether AI will take our jobs. But
Mhm.
what I think that is that rather than it taking your jobs, maybe it will create some, as you are saying, the nature of jobs will surely change. So
Yeah.
I think the people, instead of getting worried about how AI will take over our jobs or maybe it will change, they should more, try to align with what AI is trying to do, and then how they can leverage that with their daily routines or maybe their jobs, so that ultimately by the end of time, when AI will surely try to get into the commercial industry, they are already aware of, okay, what is going to change or maybe what might change, and they are already ready
Hmm.
to get aligned with that as well. So I think that is what people
Yeah.
should be looking into more.
Yeah. The process
Yeah.
will take time, but
Yes.
eventually it will be that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I think we are at almost the end of the talk. And
Okay.
what I want is that probably I'd really love to make some more video with you where we'll try to, deep
Sure.
dive into different analysis level concepts, or maybe, we can give more insights to them. So for all the
Mm-hmm.
viewers who are watching this video, they should surely stay tuned on this, and I'll link in all the details about the article that ma'am has already written, the LinkedIn handle as well of ma'am, and I'll add those links in the description. You can go ahead and check it out. So before leaving, ma'am, would you like to give any conclusion statements about, to just to summarize about today's talk, or maybe what people can expect in this field, or maybe they can expect in coming videos?
Okay, sure. So first of all, Tejas, thank you so much for having me on this video. It was really great interacting with you. I feel that this is a really nice series that you have started, and surely there is value to it. So, guys, stay tuned for Tejas's new
Thank
videos
you.
as well. He is surely doing something good. Uh, yeah, so I feel in conclusion, I guess we have discussed a lot of possibilities for new graduates to come into this field, and I'm surely excited to interact or work with um, many of them. And yeah,
Mhm.
so data science or data analytics is actually a very promising field right now. So like everyone who is interested or who is looking at this video right now, I'll encourage to at least go to just read up on it, or give it a try. It is really amazing. And yeah, thanks
Yeah.
Tejas, and thanks everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. And yeah, guys, this is the end of the this video. This is part one, and we'll be coming up soon with the more videos. And stay tuned. And if you like the video, do subscribe and share the video with people who are a data science enthusiast. And also keep innovating, guys. Take care. Thank you.